Peace to the tribes, peace to the tribes. You know the vibes. As we dig deeper into our research on the so-called Invisible Empire, the Knights of the Golden Circle, the Knights of Columbus, K.G.C, Albert Pike, Manly P. Hall, and other names that have been changed to protect the guilty. As we continue to lift the veils of the occult history of America and the world around us, we're going to take a look at what is referred to as the prescript of the Order of the Ku Klux Klan. All right, and this publication date is 1867. And this is alleged to be the actual constitution of the Ku Klux Klan.
Subscribe to the Unconquered Tribe. You are now live with the incredible host.
Wow,
This
Indian
is House
TV.
School for the Gifted and the Elect.
They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce,
But not you, man.
but they can't control me.
Not
See, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name.
We apologize for the delay.
Not you.
Please hold, and we will attend to you shortly.
Assalamu alaikum.
Get your hand out of my pocket! Get out of my pocket, nigga! Get your hands out of my pocket!
Here on page 1, you see the prescript of the star, and there's a star in the middle, but it's kind of faded away because star is KKK, asterisk, 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 whatever. All right, and that goes into some Babylonian temple worship shit that's we're gonna have to do a whole nother build about. All right, but as you see here, it's mostly about witches and warlocks. At the bottom you say, and now all kloots, and that's ghosts, all right, because it's Gaelic, because they're pretending to be Scottish, all right, and that's what the Ku Klux Klan is, because clan is a Gaelic word for family, all right, and Kyklos means circle, or comes from the Greek, which means Cyclops, all right, and they actually refer to their leaders as Grand Cyclops, and we're going to get into that in this reading and actually see more about the Cyclops, but I digress. So you'll notice them trying to use Scotch references because they're trying to create a culture for themselves, because these people are probably more than likely former slaves, all right? A lot of them came from Algiers, and through Algiers they came through France and Spain. Some of them became French. No doubt some became Spanish. All right, your Moriscos. Some are, what's the word? Sephardic, I believe is the correct term. All right, Ruskis. You have to Google it. All right, these people were former slaves, and now that slavery has been abolished, now they're free to roam the land, and they're assuming fake identities, murdering, looting, burning, destroying property, and overthrowing the government, and this is all documented. All right, so let's get a little more into their actual constitution. All right, and here on page 2 it says Amici Humani Generis. Okay, and hopefully I'll have the translation for that on the screen by the time you're hearing this. The creed says, we the star, all right, reverently acknowledge the majesty and the supremacy of the divine being and recognize the goodness and providence of the same. Preamble, we recognize our relations to the United States government and acknowledge the supremacy of its laws. Affiliation, Article 1, this organization shall be styled and denominated the Ku Klux Klan. All right, titles. The officers of this clan shall consist of a grand wizard of the empire and his 10 genii. All right, and genie we know comes from Arabic jinn. The officer of this clan shall consist of a grand wizard of the empire, his 10 genie, a grand dragon of the realm, and his 8 hydras. All right, and you'll see the hydras on the screen, so you know exactly what they're describing. All right, a grand titan of the dominion and his 6 furies. All right, so is this like Adolf, one of the Fuhrers? All right, because this is 1867, right? A grand Cyclops of the den and his 2 Nighthawks, a grand Magi, a grand Monk, a grand Exchequer, a grand Turk, a grand Scribe, a grand Sentinel, and a grand Ensign. Section 2, the body of politics of this clan shall be designated and known as ghouls. and I quote, "This clan shall be divided into 5 departments, all combined, constituting the Grand Clan of the Empire. The second department to be called the Grand Clan of the Realm. The third, the Grand Clan of the Dominion." All right. So they got an empire, a realm, and a dominion. All right. The fourth is the Grand Clan of the province. The fifth, the Grand Clan of the den. Duties of officers. It shall be the duty of the Grand Wizard, who is supreme officer of the empire, to communicate with and receive reports from the Grand Dragons of the realm as to the condition, strength, efficiency, and progress of the clans within their respective realms. So, like I said, clans is Gaelic for family. All right, so they're creating families, and that's where you get Scottish right. All right, Scottish right. All right, because they have a culture, a custom that's kind of like the Scots, kind of like a Scotch culture, but it's not. All right, because they have no culture, they have no names, they have no identities. They are the descendants of slaves, and they have lost any connection to who they are, all right? And now they're going to assume your identity. Blah, blah, blah. "And it shall further be his duty to keep by his G-scribe," all right, "a list of the names, without any captions or explanation, whatever, of the grand dragons of the different realms of his empire, and shall number such realms with the Arabic numerals 1, 2, 3, and etc. ad finum. And he shall instruct his grand exchequer as to the appropriation and disbursement which he shall make of the revenue of the clans that come to his hands. He shall have the sole power to issue copies of this prescript through his subalterns and deputies for the organization and establishment subordinate clans, and he shall have the further power to appoint his genie." All right, so he gets to appoint his own little jinn, just like King Solomon, right? King Solomon had control over the jinn. All right, they were subservient to King Solomon under the command of the Most High. All right, and this is why they assumed that King Solomon was involved in witchcraft and sorcery. All right, because he had power over devils. Blah blah blah. Lot of mayonnaise here, folks. All right, let's scrape some of this off. "A grand scribe and a grand exchequer for his department, and to appoint and ordain special duty grand wizards to assist him in the more rapid and effectual dissemination and establishment of the clans throughout his empire. He is further empowered to appoint and instruct deputies to organize and control realms, dominions, provinces, and dens, until the same shall elect a grand dragon, a grand titan, a grand giant, and a grand cyclops, in the manner hereinafter provided." Okay, and when a question paramount importance to the interest or prosperity of the clans arises not provided for this prescript, he shall have power to determine such question, and his decision shall be final until the same shall be provided for by amendment as hereinafter provided. All right, so basically this nigga is the Pope of white supremacy. Okay, I think we got that figured out. Let's move on. We got the Grand Giant, all right? Duty of the Grand Giant is the chief officer of the province to supervise and administer general and special instructions in the formation and establishment of clans within his province, and to report to the Grand Titan, when required by that officer, the condition, strength, progress, and efficiency of the clans throughout his province, and to transmit through this Grand Cyclops to the subordinate clans of his province all information for intelligence conveyed to him by the Grand Titan for that purpose, and such either information and instruction as he may think will advance the interests of the clans. All right, he shall keep by his G-scribe a list of names without caption of the Grand Cyclops of the various dens of the province, and shall report the names to the Grand Titan when required, and shall number the dens of his province with the Arabic numerals 1, 2, 3, etc. ad finum. All right, so as you see, they know where the origin of all this is. It's 1867. They talking about use the Arabic numerals, all right? Because they've stolen this information. You have, it goes down, and you have the the Grand Cyclops, okay? The duty of the Grand Cyclops, take charge of the clans of his den after his election, blah, 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 all right? Grand Giant, he shall have power to appoint his Nighthawks, his Grand Scribe, his Grand Turk, his Grand Sentinel, and his Grand Ensign, and he shall be instructed and direct the Grand Exchequer of his den as to what appropriation and disbursement he shall make of the revenue the clans comes into his hands, okay? Because as they're overthrowing us in the very near future, overthrowing the governments and of each state, because at the time each state was a country, okay? If you picture Africa as a continent and you think of all the many countries, it's very much the same here. All right, they just call them states, and now it is the United States of America, when these were all individual countries, nations, all right? All working with one another to live in harmony and peace. But now, as we're in this time of war, all right, and the war is even, because this is after the Civil War, so now they're going to turn it up, and this is where you get the red shirts, all right? This is where you get the KKK, the White League, the Know Nothing Party, okay? Let's go down a little bit. Here we have the Grand Turk, all right? It shall be the duty of the Grand Turk, who is the executive officer of the Grand Cyclops, all right? He's an executive. To notify the ghouls of the den of all informal or irregular meetings appointed by the Grand Cyclops. All right, so the Grand Turk has to gather the ghouls, all right, and to obey and execute all the lawful orders of that officer in the control and government of his den. It shall further be his duty to receive and question at the outposts all candidates for admission into the clans, and shall there administer the preliminary obligation required, and then to conduct such candidate or candidates to the Grand Cyclops at his den. All right, and so the Grand Turk is basically human resources. Okay, this nigga's in the human resource department. All right, they got the G Scribe, the Grand Scribe. All right, Grand Sentinel, Grand Ensign, election officers. All right. Section 2 of election officers says the Grand Wizard of the Empire, the Grand Dragons of the Realm, the Grand Titans of the Dominion, and the Grand Giants of Province shall be elected biennial, and in the following manner to wit: the Grand Wizard by majority vote of the Grand Dragons of his empire, the Grand Dragon by a like vote of the Grand Titans of his realm, the Grand Titans by a like vote of the Grand Giants of his dominion, and the Grand Giant by a like vote of the Grand Cyclops of his province. The first election for the Grand Dragon may take place as soon as 3 dominions have been organized in a realm. Okay, so they're taking over America piece by piece. The Grand Cyclopses, the Grand Wizards, the Grand Dragons. All right. Here in the judiciary section, you see section 2, the Grand Council of Yahoos shall be the tribunal for the trial of all elected officers, and shall be composed of officers of equal rank with the accused. All right, so if you get in trouble, then you're going to have to go see the Grand Council of Yahoos, all right, to be judged by the Cyclops and the Jinn and the ghouls. This shit is really spooky, right? Here they talk about how they divide the revenue in the revenue section, and I will provide a link in the description to the Constitution of the Invisible Empire. We're exposing these motherfuckers, lifting their aprons. All right, press 1. The 1 is for 1 because we already won. If you're new here, this is what we do here. I am the Incredible Hawk, and this is Hawk School for the Gifted and the Elect, and we're broadcasting live from the emphatically immaculate Republic of Atlantis. Now, in admission, you see section 1, no one shall be presented for admission in this clan until he shall have been recommended by some friend or intimate who is a member to the investigating committee, which shall be composed of the Grand Cyclops, the Grand Magi, and the Grand Monk, who shall investigate his antecedents and his past and present stand and connections, and if after such investigation they pronounce him competent and worthy to become a member, he may be admitted upon taking the obligation required and passing through the ceremonies of initiation, provided that no one be admitted into this clan who shall have not attained the age of 18. All right, you got to be 18 if you're going to be eating babies. All right, so I mean, at least, you know, they have a age limit. All right, you can't eat babies until you're 18. Okay. The grand banner of this Klan shall be its form of an isosceles triangle, all right, 5 feet long and 3 wide at the staff. The material shall be yellow with a red scallop border, about 3 inches in width. There shall be painted upon it in black a Dracovolian, or it does say Dracovolon, or flying dragon, with the following motto inscribed above the dragon. I don't even want to say that shit out loud. I might be saying a goddamn curse, all right? With the translation, according to Webster's Unabridged Pictorial, what always, what everywhere, what by all is held to be true, all right? So they saying they standing on this wherever they at in the world. And they have their codes in the introduction, the origin, designs, mysteries, and rituals of the Klan shall never be written, but this same shall be communicated orally. All right, and here's a register, purple, some more shit to decipher. All right, they got the initiation fee, shall be $1, all right, to be paid when the canon is initiated. So for $1, you can go get all the way activated. All right, pause. All right, so they got the dens. All right, and you always hear this, the den mother. All right, when you got the Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts. All right, because they getting them ready. They got the same uniforms on as goddamn the Nazi boys. Same uniforms, same people. All right, the names have been changed to protect the guilty. All right, and I think we're gonna wrap that up.